Hey, everyone in. Let's go. Huddle up on 3. 1, 2, 3. Huddle up.
You all know what you have to do. Remember, no one, and I mean no one, comes into our house and pushes us around. This is your game now, gentlemen.
Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins.
This could be a sentence that a month ago would sound incomprehensible. From 31 yards, McPherson, and Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
He called it again, I'm sure. He walked up and he goes, "Can you believe, Coach? We're going to the Super Bowl."
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome in Huddle Up Podcast. It is Tuesday night, January the 17th, 2023, and we are back for another trip through the sports world. The field is narrowing. We're getting closer to the end, but we will continue to press on and do our best as we look towards divisional weekend in the National Football League. But make sure you are following us on social media if you are not already at Huddle Up Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. YouTube is youtube.com/at Huddle Up Podcast. Also, you can check out our merchandise over at tpublic.com, as well as subscribing to us on all podcast platforms. Make sure you subscribe, follow, tell your friends, get as many people in on the action. We've had a lot of growth over the past couple of months, and we hope to continue that not only through the end of the live season here, but into our off season as well. And we will talk more about that in a few weeks, because still plenty to talk about. Right now, just myself and Matt. I think we'll have Ernest DJ Christian at some point. Student of the game Kyle Nash is off covering UCF basketball tonight, so he will not be joining us on the live show. But Matt, how you doing this week, my friend?
Doing well. I got to watch some stress-free football this weekend, which is always nice when you get to the playoffs, to have one of those weekends where you can just kind of take everything in. And despite, I think, what a lot of people thought, we got some pretty good games out of the weekend. I think there were only two of the games that were completely lopsided, and even one of those was still close at halftime, and then just kind of San Francisco was like, "Oh, that's right, we had a game today. What are we doing here?" But otherwise, everything was pretty competitive until you got to Monday night.
Yeah, even into the third quarter, I think Seattle was kind of making a game of it, and San Francisco kind of pulled away. Everything else pretty close. Yeah, much to a lot of people's surprise, including myself. Last night was not close. It was never close, and it was that way in my favor, which like I said, I didn't really see that one coming, but we'll certainly talk about the weekend that was. Look ahead to the weekend that will be. Devin and Mike checking in with us live. Hope you guys are doing well, and if you are following along with us live, you can interact with us. I think there's still an issue with StreamYard and Twitter, so if you want to give your live reactions with us, hop over on the Facebook or the YouTube live feed, and you can give your reactions in the comments. I do want to start off, though, and for those that know, Matt and I, we cover pro wrestling and have our pro wrestling podcast, 3CT, on Thursday nights. Some kind of crazy breaking news we were just talking about before we hit the the start and went live here, there's a lot of reports going around, and it seems to have been confirmed with the kind of local scene here on the East Coast that one half of the Briscoe brothers, the Ring of Honor tag team champions, Jay Briscoe, was at the was in a car accident, and there are some reports that he has passed away. Not 100% confirmed yet, but certainly want to send our condolences and our prayers and all that with his family and him if the reports aren't 100% true, but the news does not seem great at this hour. So yeah, just kind of another one of those unfortunate and sobering reminders of the fragility of life. So not a great way to start, and certainly if you are a pro wrestling fan, we will be covering that as much as we can on 3CT this week on Thursday Night Live. So all right, Matt, let's then, no good way to transition, but let's get to the good, the bad, and the ugly from the sports weekend. Looking back, of course, it was the super wild card weekend. The NFL has to make things as marketable as possible. So, what was Matt? What was your good from the weekend that was?
I'm going to give it to the 49ers. I think that even though there was kind of a slow start for them, and we saw Seattle kind of hang into it, a lot of questions were, is Brock Purdy going to be able to carry this success on into the playoffs? And granted, it was against the 7 seed, so I don't think we've seen him against a true test yet in terms of a strong defense, since Seattle's defense this year is not the Legion of Boom or anything close to it. They're probably one of the worst defenses in the NFL, but I think still seeing a unproven rookie, if we can still call him unproven at this point, go into the playoffs and handle business the way he needed to, make the throws that he needed to, because we did see some quarterbacks that were not making the throws this weekend. So as easy as those throws may have looked, you still have to deliver, and he did. So I will give it to the Niners for the offense kind of being able to keep the pace with the defense, giving them the chances that they did.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the question has kind of been for me with Brock Purdy and the Niners is when is this rookie bubble going to burst? I mean, we've seen it with upstart quarterbacks, and they'll play good for a while. Defenses start to figure them out, and there's kind of this learning curve where they kind of regress a bit, and then some never get back to that form. Some do and improve even better. We haven't seen that regression point yet with Brock Purdy. So, will that continue through this weekend? We'll certainly be previewing those games in a little bit here. But I'll go to Devin's here in the comments, because this is one I had penciled in up until last night. His good, he said, is the Dolphins playing a good game on Sunday. The future looks a lot brighter.
That's fair, Devin. That is. I think the Dolphins hung around a little bit more than a lot of people were anticipating. Certainly more than I was. When Buffalo went up almost 21-0, then 17-0, it kind of seemed to everyone that the spread was going to be accurate, and Buffalo went handily double-digit score, and then Miami battled back. Allen made a lot of mistakes that the Dolphins were able to capitalize on. So I think if you get that quarterback position healthy, if Tua moving forward can kind of stay out on the field, it seems like that team has a lot of promise. They certainly have the weapons offensively surrounding whoever is going to be quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if Skylar Thompson which sounds like somebody out from 98 degrees, not an NFL quarterback. But if Skylar Thompson can go toe to toe with Buffalo in January, this place that we've been told since the beginning of the season, if the Bills get home field advantage, there's no beating them. And Skylar Thompson goes in and almost does the thing on Wild Card Weekend. So certainly something to be to feel positive about there, Devin, and to all Dolphins fans. Mine, and I'll get the mics in the comments in a second. And this, I'm Kyle, I'll play it for you, even though you're not here with us on the air.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Kyle went at me the other week because how dare I be frustrated with my own quarterback who is making poor decisions and playing poorly. But I'll go homer with mine, and specifically to the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. There's been a lot of questions, justifiably so, a lot of criticism, justifiably so, at Dak Prescott this season. He has not been great. It has not been all on him, but he has not been without blame down the stretch. And last night, again, I understand the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 8-9. I understand that this Bucs team was not very good, but we've seen Dak and the Cowboys ill perform against worse teams at times. So Dak Prescott, to me, played his best game as a pro last night. Competition, I understand, but with all the criticism, with all the weight of everything around, the noise around that team down the stretch, all of the talk of Brady is 7-0 against the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 1-6 in the playoffs in the blue uniforms. They don't play well on grass. The laundry list of criticisms and questions and all of that. And Dak played almost flawlessly last night. One or two kind of missed passes later in the game. The first two drives weren't great, but once he locked in, he was spectacular. So I hope, and this is what I was talking about with a colleague of mine today that is a Cowboys fan, that our hope is that this is him turning the corner. Again, this is a Bucs team that was 8-9 that won a terrible division. We're aware of this, and the task is going to be much harder 5 days from now. But for one night in South Florida, or I guess more Central Florida, Dak Prescott looked like the guy who deserved to get paid what we're paying him. So kudos to Dak, obviously to the Cowboys, but I'm especially happy and it's my good for this week was the play of Dak Prescott.
Yeah, again, similar to Brock Purdy, Tampa Bay's defense, not the greatest, but, like I had said, there were some QBs specifically on the other team in that game that were not making the throws that they needed to, and Dak was making the throws. So whether the defense on Tampa Bay is one that's going to be able to stop a quarterback playing well doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, he delivered. And
right.
I think that certainly is something that needs to be said for anyone catching criticism. And we'll get to the bad and the ugly, but it made me smile when you played Kyle's Tried to Tell You, but you didn't listen, because he gave us that quote about the Jaguars-Chargers games, and unfortunately he's not here to kind of eat up how incorrect he was in that analysis.
That is certainly true, and let's go here to Mike's. His good was, well, first he auto-corrected Rumble in the Jungle, which it was the Rumble in the Jungle. He corrected it, the fumble in the jungle. Yes, for Bengals fans, have to be much happier that play went the way it did than the alternative, because Mike may not be as happy today if that play doesn't end up the way it did. But the 98-yard fumble return touchdown to clinch the game for the Bengals, a 7-point victory. But in the playoffs, you don't need style points. You just need to have more more points on the scoreboard.
Win is a win when you get this far.
Darn right. Exactly. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be great. All you have to do is advance. We've seen ugly Super Bowl wins, and I was 10 years old when the last time I was able to celebrate one from my team, so I'll take an ugly one at this point. I don't care. But yeah, certainly good there for Bengals fans. Close battle again. We talked about with the Bills and some of their questions, and we'll get to power rankings and all of that talk later. But the Bills struggling to put away Skylar Thompson. The Bengals, I know Tyler Huntley's better than Skylar Thompson, at least right now. But if Lamar was there, would it have been a different story? No way to tell, but the Bengals did what they had to do. They got the win. So congratulations to Mike and to the Bengals fans. Matt, what was your bad from the weekend that was?
So my bad will go to that game on the other side of the ball in terms of Ravens versus Bengals, because the clock management we saw from the Ravens to close out the game would have been ugly if not for another collapse that we saw on the same weekend. So we will go with bad for the Ravens and how they closed out the game. When you have an opportunity to go down the field and possibly win the game and you're acting like you have 4 minutes before halftime, that's not the effort that we've come to expect from a Harbaugh coach team. I was under the impression that they were going to try to go down for the score and then go for the win with a 2-point conversion. That's what I was expecting in terms of aggressiveness from Harbaugh, and instead we saw them just kind of sit back and wait and run and take their time and huddle while the clock's still running and you're not calling timeouts, like they get to carry those 2 timeouts into next season for the first game or something.
Wait, it's not how it works?
It was just a weird coaching display from Harbaugh, not one that we've come to expect from someone who has, been to Super Bowls, won Super Bowls, is a very accomplished head coach. To have that lack of awareness, and you can't put it all on the quarterback, because at the end of the day, he can still call those timeouts if he sees fit, and there just seemed to be no urgency at all from that sideline.
Yeah, I don't necessarily wholeheartedly disagree with some of the decision to let the clock play down, because I guess we've seen Brady do it, we've seen Mahomes do it, we've seen Allen do it. You don't want to be on the bad side of a 30-second touchdown or field goal winning drive.
Sure.
So I don't.
You got to tie first though before.
Well, that's certainly true. Exactly. But so I don't necessarily disagree with all of it, but it's certainly not, like you said, what we've come to expect with the John Harbaugh team.
I'll go a little.
Hold on, Matt. Finally joining us from the security van is Ernest DJ Christian. How we doing?
Having some technical issues here, but we'll figure it out. What's up, guys?
I'll further the bad into the Ravens organization as a whole. At the end of the day, when some of the comments that we're hearing from players on the team of, if Lamar was here, we would have won. Why wasn't I getting the ball in this situation, et cetera, et cetera. It just was not a good look post game either from a number of players on the team, specifically Dobbins. But I think there were plenty of opportunities for other players to kind of step up, be leaders, and kind of squash that, and it didn't happen. So those comments probably shouldn't have even been made. Stronger leadership in the locker room, they don't get made. Yeah, that almost borderlines to ugly. The breakdown day by the Ravens. Certainly not what you want to hear. I mean, some of it may be factual, but certainly not what you want to hear coming out of the games this weekend, and they're having to look towards this weekend or this off season and next season. But EJ, let's backtrack a minute since we didn't get your good. What was your good from the past weekend?
No, my good was actually the amount of competitive football we had this weekend. Look at the last 2 years, wildcard weekend, super wildcard weekend has been shitty. To be real, so shitty. And this week we thought it would be the same situation, and yet we had really 5 or 6 games competitive. Even the Seahawks-Niners game, late third quarter, Seahawks had a chance to take the lead, and then Jim fumbles the ball, and the rest is history. But other than last night's game, it was a competitive wildcard weekend. Really enjoyable.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that. A couple minutes ago. That really, with the exception of last night's game, it really was kind of one of the better wild card weekends we can remember in quite a while. Certainly the best since the addition of the 7th team.
Yeah, absolutely.
On both sides. EJ, what was your bad from the weekend?
My bad is actually the bad analysis all week leading into the Cowboys-Bucks game from the mainstream media. Okay. I know it's fun. I know it's fun to make fun of the Cowboys, and we do it on the show all the time with you, Jim, and the media, Stephen A. Smith, and the whole thing with the Cowboys, and but the fact that so many people picked the Bucks to win the game was like, it's weird. You guys not watch this team all year long? They were not good all year long. Even their 8 wins, they were horrible. Like the only way Dallas lost that game last night, they beat themselves. Like Dallas is far the better team. And I know we get into the analysis of like, yeah, let's make fun of the Cowboys because no, Dallas is a better team than Tampa Bay, and last night was the way it should have actually. Honestly,
not unheard of for Dallas to beat themselves, EJ.
Right, and I think
agree, but these two teams though, like last year, San Fran was on par with Dallas. I picked San Fran last year. This year, no excuses. Dallas should have beaten their asses. And I told Jim all week they're going to win comfortably.
Right, but I mean, the talking point doesn't come out of nowhere, though. I mean,
right.
This is an organization who has found itself on the comically bad side of failure.
I agree
for so many times. I mean, you go back to seasons where they were the number 1 seed. They were the NFC East champion. They're 12-4. They're 13-3. They're 11-5. They end up drawing a 6th seed in the second round if they had a bye, or the 6th seed in the first round. And they found ways. They found ways to lose. And so while it's probably heavy-handed, but we also have to keep in mind, and I'm certainly not trying to defend national sports media, which can be just a honk fest at times,
a little bit too much, right?
The narrative around the Cowboys being bad sells ratings and sells clicks, so that certainly plays into it.
There's a number of rabid fan bases that analysts are going to attack to try to just get viewership up, and it's the Cowboys is one of them. The Eagles is going to be one of them. I look forward to that all week this week, and hearing how Daniel Jones is now the second coming of Joe Montana,
right?
And how the Eagles are going to just get absolutely annihilated. Is
like
going
slow
to be
down,
a talking
dude.
point
Exactly.
On a lot, and I look forward to Nick Wright just hammering that home all week.
You want to have an annoying sports media week. If the Eagles and Cowboys both win this week, next week will be insufferable. Like in national sports media. So we'll obviously get to our picks
later.
My
worst nightmare. Certainly.
But yeah, it will get obnoxious. If both those teams win. We'll get to the predictions later. My bad from the weekend. Look, I know everybody wants to write the Kurt Coupons saga from Sunday, and granted, the last play of the game was not good. I don't know if that's a play call, if that's a bad read, I don't know what that was. That was bad. There's no escaping that. And I'm not taking anything, any credit away from the New York Giants, but the Vikings defense was terrible.
Putrid
on Sunday. That's my bad. And it further kind of solidified the point. And I understand that, at times this year, and I'm looking at a 40-3 Cowboys victory over the Vikings as one of those where both sides of the ball were bad. but there's a reason that this team was 13-4 and had a point differential of +5. They're giving up way too many points. It's a old defense, it's a beat up defense, and they really need to address that, because you have weapons on offense. You can make the debate about Kirk Cousins all you want.
Yeah.
My bad, certainly. The Vikings defense was horrible. Was just getting shredded. Look, I know we have fun with the Danny Dimes stuff, and I can't wait till he signs his extension with New York.
It's coming.
But
it's coming, baby.
You have Saquon Barkley, you have Daniel Jones, and you have who the fuck's playing wide receiver for this team, and they're just shredding that defense. So yeah, that's definitely my bad. If you guys want to give any thoughts to that, feel free, and then we'll get to a couple of the comments.
Yeah, the check down is certainly a questionable call for sure. And if you look at it big picture, I saw the analysis that Kurt Warner did, and maybe you're just trying to get that to, I believe it was Hawkinson, and hope he breaks one tackle, because if he breaks that tackle, he's running for days.
He's killed for that. He killed it too.
Right. So I don't necessarily think it's the worst decision in the world. It's a coin toss if he breaks that tackle or not. And do you put your season on a coin toss? I wouldn't. Cousins shouldn't have it. They're force to throw into double coverage if you need to. You have the best wide receiver in the league, arguably, who, like Mike said in the comments, what happened to him, where Justin Jefferson can go. That would have been the time to have your playmaker make a play. So get it into the hands of your guy that has carried you this far into the season, in my opinion. And if they didn't call a play to try to get him wide open or running a slant, running an in pattern, that was a huge mistake on the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, no, Mike, I see your comment here. It wasn't Coupon's fault. No, certainly. Again,
not entirely.
No, again, look, it's one of those things where everybody's going to focus on the last play, but you shouldn't have been in the position to have to make that last play. I get it. I'll never understand a play call where there's anybody in a position to catch a ball that short of a first down line when you need a first down. But the game shouldn't have been in that spot anyway. Hey, a surprise drop in.
What a handsome bastard there.
From section 108, student of the game, Kyle Nash. What's going on? Hold on, we can't hear you.
Official press spot
there
that I usually have here at UCF contests. So there you go.
Look at you, glasses. You got your hair. You got your hair combed. Look at you. You look professional.
The glasses are because I'm, pretty blind.
That getting old.
Kyle, we were just discussing, and I'm going to make you listen to the playback to hear my good. But after listening to you and EJ drone on a little bit on the Earnestly Speaking podcast today, I think you'll be happy with my good from the weekend that was. But do you have a bad? We won't backtrack all the way to your good, but do you have a bad?
I mean, my bad is definitely the morons that want to focus on a Cowboy kicker missing extra points when Thomas Edward Patrick Bieber Brady looked like he did. Like, really? That's what we're going to focus on? The kicker? Listen, I like kickers too.
I'm focused on it, but that's a different story.
Well, right. And I'm also focused on you. I almost made the bad you being unable to write an apology card to Dak Prescott, but I've been told by EJ Christian that
like I said, listen to the playback. I think you'll be surprised.
Oh, well, how psychic of me.
I was saying, so the Facebook post you put earlier this morning was, I think, apology enough.
But I did pedal back on that. But yeah, I mean, that would definitely be my bad. Like, this is really what we're doing. We're focusing on missed extra points in what was the single biggest beatdown of the weekend, bar none, because, hey, at least the Seattle game was close for a half. They were winning at one point, They were.
Let's see here. Mike's bad. Where the F did Justin Jefferson go? Yeah, that wasn't great for the Vikings or anybody involved. And Devin's bad is the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. With the biggest blown lead in a playoff game or or something like that. I'll start the transition to the ugly, because that's my ugly is the blown 27-0 lead. So Devin, good job there. Man, I'm sitting at a hockey game Saturday night, and I'm like, I'm just catching the score updates, and I'm going, I did not expect, like, I wouldn't have been surprised if the Chargers won. I think I picked the Jags. I can't exactly remember. That was 7 days ago. But I wouldn't have expected 27-0 rout, and then certainly wouldn't have expected, getting to the diner after the hockey game and seeing the Jaguars complete the comeback. So certainly not, you don't want to be on the wrong side of that one. The Chargers are. I've heard reports that Matt Ryan sent a thank you basket to Los Angeles, but I can't confirm that at this time. But again, going back to having to play this game without Mike Williams, certainly in hindsight looks even worse now than it did before. He certainly has plenty of time to heal that broken back from a meaningless Week 18.
Oh, here he goes.
But my ugly was the Chargers. Your thoughts, any of you guys?
Who's going to argue with that?
I think that's a very fair ugly. I have some other options, but that was certainly at the top.
All right, Matt.
Ugly list.
Let's dive into your ugly, Matt.
Sure, and we talked about it at the start of the show, Jim, where we said a win at this point is a win. When you get to the playoffs, even an ugly win is still a win, so it doesn't really matter. But I will still give an ugly to the Bills because
to win the
game that they played looked entirely uninspired after what we saw the week before against New England. They just came out and looked really flat against the Miami team after they kind of let their foot off the gas early on in the game. Let the team battle back. It should have been something that they won handily, whether it was just them looking forward to the week ahead because they thought they had it in hand. But I think that they stumbled a little bit when you want to be having full steam ahead, especially when you are going to be facing a team in the Bengals who is going to be just as motivated to be up for the game as you were.
For sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I've talked all year that the Bills kind of struggled at times to put teams away. So certainly it will be something to watch this weekend. EJ, from the second camera angle, what was your ugly from the weekend?
My ugly. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, look at
Excellent.
you.
Excellent. All right, cool. No, my ugly this weekend was actually the questionable coaching this weekend from Mike McDaniel to John Harbaugh to, of course, Brandon Staley, which I've been saying since last year that guy is probably got to go. And, we got to check McDaniel's vape pen to see what was in there. You see that too?
That may have caused some of the questionable coaching decisions, but
I mean, I would say the Harbaugh one's a little more like, what the fuck? Like the time management thing was just, I kind of talk about in the podcast that I still don't get it. Like if you're not, if you run that clock down, just use your timeout to worry about miscommunications. I mean, I didn't get it. It was just weird.
Yeah, I mean, even in good games, some odd and not great coaching decisions. Certainly, not using the running back at the goal line when you have a couple of bruisers on your team. Maybe the biggest questionable decision of them all. Kind of putting all your trust in your season in the hands of a, not that he's not capable, but a backup quarterback nonetheless. But I know Matt obviously was touching in his bat about specifically Harbaugh and some of the coaching decisions there. Kyle, what was your ugly from the weekend?
I could go a lot of directions. I mean, the injuries. I could go the direction of the Bucks trying to tell me, or Bucks fans rather, trying to tell me how they're going to be in the Super Bowl and get past the 49ers.
That's cute.
Yeah. But I'm going to go with everybody turning on Justin Herbert as if he's the reason that the Chargers lost. Like, is it just me or has everybody basically done their best reverse tick or no, the haters are coming out of the woodwork. Like suddenly Justin Herbert sucks. I get that he's been a touch overrated by some pundits, But like, it doesn't have to be extremes, people. He could just be somebody who was stuck with some garbage coaching. The very same people who throw Justin Herbert onto the bus all of a sudden want to then, forget 4 or 5 tweets ago they were bitching about the whole Mike Williams back thing. And that's not on you, Jim. I'm not giving you a hard time. You aren't this guy, but I've seen it out there, and it's quite ridiculous. I've seen people who are very respectable. They tour the AFC South, for example. I don't get throwing Herbert under the bus. I think it's very silly to do that. He's still going to be a top 10, top 15 quarterback in this league, regardless of how this game went.
Yeah, and I mean, we obviously saw the news today that the Chargers are moving on from their offensive coordinator, moving on from their quarterback coach. A lot of people questioning why isn't it Staley? I think maybe he's given a stay of execution, as it were. Maybe one more season with a change in the coaching staff. We'll see. So maybe this will be the step to, depending on who you bring in.
You know what, Jim? I'm so sorry. You made me realize what my actual ugly was. Not just that team doing that, but another team throwing their offensive coordinator under the bus as if he's the problem. The firing of Todd Bowles is outright ridiculous to me in my mind. And there have been people, even people we've heard, Jim, try to call out Leftwich as if he's the problem. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily understand that one. You had a team, we've talked about it all season, that's been decimated by injury. You have a 46-year-old quarterback, that for the first time, arguably to some, it really looked mortal this year. Really, I mean, and we'll touch on Brady here in a little bit, but yeah, I don't get that one.
What were the expectations, I wonder, out of Leftwich this season? The quarterback situation was forced upon him at that point. You spend months game planning for not Tom Brady, and then last minute you're like, well, now you have Tom Brady.
Tom's like, I'm back, bitches.
He's obviously not going to bench Tom Brady, or he would be fired on the spot. So beyond that, the injuries and not just to the offensive line, but to the receiving core as well. I mean, it was just a no-win situation for Leftwich all season. So to have him as the sacrificial lamb is certainly a good call for ugly, Kyle.
Well, yeah, and I mean, who else would he play over Brady too? Kyle Trask?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's almost comically bad when you look. I mean, for that team to have been the one to win that division, like it truly is. It truly is a marvel of how rough that division, that whole situation was. And EJ, I want to dive into something that you said on your podcast, your Unfiltered pod today, because you said that you would still today, and I don't know that I necessarily disagree with it, but we'll dive in real quick, and we'll field to the panel, because you said that you would still take Tom Brady over half the quarterbacks in this league.
I think if you look at the 1 year sample, I'm not looking at the next 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years. I'm saying right now, if I'm starting 2023, he's still better than at least half the quarterbacks.
All right, well, let's go to the tape. Let's go to the tape. We're basing this off of who was the starting quarterbacks this year. So I get some teams can change, but let's work the list. We'll go down the AFC first. Assuming Baltimore works out a deal with Lamar Jackson.
Lamar, obviously.
Okay. Kyle and Matt chime in as well. Lamar.
Yeah.
Okay. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, obviously.
Josh Allen.
Okay. Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Burrow.
Okay. Deshaun Watson.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Watson. Yep.
Okay, so you still got Watson.
He's been looking bad this year.
Russell Wilson.
That's tough.
That's tough right now.
Tough, but I still probably go with Russ.
Same
1 year sample.
1 year sample.
Yeah,
It's tough. It's tough. I will go Russ, but it's
Okay.
a tough. That's really tough though. because-
slight lean towards.
Nice.
There you go. Good
Yeah,
one,
I
Matt.
see
Good
what
job,
you did
Matt.
there. See what you did there. The Texans, Davis Mills / Jeff Driscoll.
Okay.
Brady.
Hey,
Brady.
you found one. All right.
There's
We got one. We got one. The Colts. Now, right now
Brady.
it was Sam Ellinger, but next year CJ. We can't speculate of who they're going to draft. So let's go Sam Ellinger.
Yes,
Brady
Brady.
over Sam Ellinger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two. We got two in a row. No, we're not going to make a streak out of it. Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, not that one. Never
Oh,
mind.
come on.
Okay,
Leave
not that
sunshine
one.
alone. Leave sunshine alone.
Patrick Mahomes.
Well, next question. Let's go.
Okay.
Wait, don't forget the Titans, Jim.
Well, we're getting there. We're going.
Brady.
We're going in
Oh,
city,
you're doing it that way. Got you.
alphabetical order by city.
Got you.
Currently for the Raiders, Jarrett Stidham.
Brady.
Brady.
Next.
Brady.
Sit him. Ha ha.
Hey-o. Chargers, Justin Herbert.
Justin, of course.
Herbert.
Okay. Dolphins. We'll yield to Tua because we assume he's going to be back next year.
I might pick Brady because if I'm going to scrape somebody off the turf, if it goes wrong, it might as well be a guy who's a Hall of Famer rather than the guy who refuses to believe he's a concussion problem.
Because of the questions of Tua. Like, it should be Tua.
Yeah.
Even with I'm just going on the sample. But because we have to consider that this is also his concussions also. It's got to be Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So there's I kind of agree on that one. Mac Jones.
Brady. Next question.
Mac.
I would actually go Mac on that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Listen,
Wow.
we understand you got to protect your household, but Brady is not the right answer here.
It's Brady. Next question.
Mike White.
Brady. Next question.
Brady.
Okay.
That's 6 right there. I got.
That's 5. I have 5.
Oh, you have. I have 6 on my end. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm counting my own, right?
About
Okay.
Mac Jones, just to be clear. But
Okay,
continue.
gotcha. Kenny
You're
Pickett.
Pick it.
Brady.
Pickett.
Brady.
No.
One year,
come on.
one
on.
year sample.
Now
I didn't say
you're
that's
just
2-3 years. I
stretching.
said
Stop
1
it.
year sample. Brady.
Pickett.
Brady.
Pickett.
Next
Answer's
question.
It's Pickett.
Brady.
Pickett's a better passer and he's
1
more
year
mobile right
has-
now. Even for
Trubisky,
1
you have
year.
an argument. It's Pickett, though.
Brady. I got Brady. so.
Here's the thing,
Brutal.
EJ, you're forgetting it's a mobile quarterback league now, and Brady
Understand
is
that.
not that. Pickett.
All right. He's going Brady. He's trying to prove a point.
He's still in, but okay.
The Titans, Josh Dobbs, Tannehill, God who
Brady.
knows.
Brady.
Brady.
Yeah, that one's easy. All right. So for the panel, we have 6 in the AFC. EJ, I believe you have 8.
Correct, sir.
Ridiculous.
So he's on his own pace barely with bad takes.
Yeah. Falcons, Desmond Ritter.
Brady. Next
Brady.
question.
Brady.
Yeah, that one's a Brady. Cardinals. I mean,
Kyler.
Murray's the starter, but he's not going to play most of the season.
So
But-
I'm going into next year. It's Brady because of the ACL injury. He's not playing half the year. First off, let's go there. Now, if he's healthy, I'm going to go Kyler Murray, obviously. But he's
Right.
not healthy. That's just a reality situation.
I mean, I guess.
So with an asterisk, you can put Brady for the
Yeah.
Cardinals.
You know what? Even for our sake, I'll mark Brady for that one.
Yeah.
The Panthers, Sam Darnold.
Brady.
Well, I got to pause there. I feel like they're going to be working to kind of draft a guy or get a guy in free agency.
Well,
So-
we're
when it
going off
happens,
what we
we'll-
have now because we kind of treated the Colts the same way.
So, right. So this is the asterisk
Mhm.
Brady.
So this is the third asterisk.
And this is
Right.
actually a topic we can revisit over the
because
offseason too, especially.
Colts
The
and
Colts were an
Texans
asterisk, the Cardinals,
Texans
and
should
now
be an
and now the Panthers.
'Cause of the draft,
Houston's
right.
definitely drafting a QB with the
Well,
number
that's
2
yeah, that's
pick,
true
so
too.
Before
this
So
it
really,
should
it's,
be an asterisk.
really, it's 4 asterisks.
Yeah, it really
See,
is.
Jim, we're now getting into territory about what the point you made in the 5 discussions about super early polls being stupid. Just saying, Bing.
Well, sure. I mean, you can
Good
go
one,
check that
Kyle.
out. Justin Fields.
Fields.
Okay.
Fields, yeah.
Dak Prescott.
Dakota.
Zach.
Jared Goff.
Golf.
I would after this year. I'll go golf. I would have
You,
said
you
before.
found the one instance where I don't scoff at golf.
We're gonna go Aaron Rodgers because we don't know differently at this point.
It's still wrong.
Charlotte, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What if it's Jordan Love? Do you go Brady or Love?
Brady.
Okay. Baker Mayfield, I guess? Question mark.
Brady. Next question.
Cousins.
Wait,
Right.
so,
If you gave Matt,
time out.
if you
Time
get
out.
go ahead.
One second. So we went Baker Mayfield for the Rams and not Stafford. Is that correct?
I mean,
Yes.
even if it's Stafford, are you going Stafford or Brady?
I would go Stafford over Brady.
Are we going Stafford healthy and knowing his spinal's okay? Or are we going for Stafford?
That's why I said Brady.
It's a big deal because I think his career is over.
I would trust personally. I would probably trust Tom Brady for 1 year than Stafford because I feel like Stafford is more cooked than Brady is.
Agreed.
Right.
Okay.
It's Detroit's fault.
And here's the reason why the answer in Minnesota is Brady is because the very reason he was successful in Tampa is he was plugged in instead of Jameis Winston. It's the same concept. So you have to say Brady here.
I mean, you can think also too, like, I mean, it could be a wash possibly.
Why are you still?
No. I'm just saying. No. I'm with you. Let me ask you a question. If you insert Brady on that Minnesota team right now, they beat the Giants probably this weekend?
Yeah, not close.
I don't know.
That defense is so bad.
Agreed, but
and the Vikings and Bucks both have similar weapons on offense. Obviously, the Vikings have a deeper pool, but it's not like they're limited with receiving options.
But Brady might make it a shootout, which the Giants can't win with Danny Dimes.
Right.
That's fair.
The Vikings also a better.
I agree with Kyle personally. Is I would lean Brady for one season. I would lean Brady.
That's all we're saying is one season anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the dispute.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton? Question mark.
Brady.
What
do you have there now, Matt? Wait, real quick, Jim. What do you got?
I'm at 12.
I'm at 15.
Yours are ridiculous too, bro.
That's fine. That's my list though.
Again, he's got to make his point. Daniel Jones.
Oh God!
Look at Matt's face.
I would take Dimes because of mobility.
From the alleged Giants fan.
I'm gonna take.
Be careful what you wish for, guys. I wouldn't take him over Tom Brady though. It's Dimes. Funny. Give him his lifetime contract.
Yeah, damn right.
It's tough because like the style that Danny plays on, it fits. It wouldn't fit Brady.
Yeah, I think
the schematic issue.
The Giants don't have
and I'm not being funny about it.
The weapons to like Brady has to sit in that pocket, and he does not.
Correct.
have.
And the Giants line, even as much as it improved last couple of years, is still not that great.
Right.
So
correct.
I'll go Dimes.
Jalen Hurts.
Hurts
at this point, yeah.
49ers, because you're going to have.
We argued this today on the Kyle on the show. Remember?
Lance, I assume Garoppolo's out.
Oh, he's done. Garoppolo's gone.
Yeah, no, he's
I would probably go Lance or Purdy over Brady.
I would.
I would not go Lance before Brady because we don't know what we have. I would go Brady before Purdy because here's the thing. I would bring Brady in because they're both so young. They would have the opportunity to watch a Hall of Famer at work.
Right.
So I'm going to say Brady.
That's fair. A lot of the San Francisco offense is predicated on get your playmakers the ball quickly and let them do work. Which
that's
Tom
true.
can
I think,
do.
yeah, you know what?
That's fair.
So, Matt, we argued on the podcast that, like we said, so if San Fran hypothetically was in the Brady sweepstakes, obviously Jimmy's gone. You trade Lance for assets. Let Purdy sit a year behind Brady, and then boom, there you go.
See, that's the thing, though.
If you can get assets,
you get a second rounder.
You're not getting a second rounder.
A couple of end zone pylons. What are you getting for him?
Have we? And this thing, Connor, I'm talking about today on the podcast. Have we seen enough from Lance to say he's damaged goods already?
No.
That's the thing.
No, he's just too big of a question mark to get assets.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking. Yeah, I think third round at best.
You might get a conditional third.
Yeah. All right, let's 3 more here. Geno Smith.
Brady.
I'm gonna say Geno.
I like Geno in that with that team with that offense.
That's
I think
another
Geno
situation where
has
you
more of
need
an
a
ability to
more
spread the field.
You need
Because
someone.
we've already seen what a headstrong quarterback does in Pete Carroll's system.
I'm gonna go Geno on that one. Tampa, are you going Brady or the field?
I mean, well, Brady's not staying, so I don't think that should be an option.
Okay, that's fair.
I wouldn't even put Tampa as a possibility.
Yeah,
and besides, Brady is actually the best option right now in a 1 year sample.
Sure,
but he's not going to be there. So,
well, right, as I'm saying.
But you're not going to steal that one. So
no, I'm not rebuilding it. I'm not
you're trying to get a free one.
No, I'm not going to. You shouldn't use it. You shouldn't use it in the first place anyway. You shouldn't use it.
Brady or Brady? I'll take Brady. And Washington, Sam Howell ? Heineke ?
Heineke over Brady.
Heineke over Brady.
I'll go Brady.
I'll
Brady
go
over Howell for sure, but Heineke over Brady.
I mean, Howell's undefeated, Matt. Tom Brady's not undefeated.
This is true, though, Matt. I will say it's a little closer than you realize, though, because Heineken's mobile. Heineken's a little more.
It's more so that the way the team seems to react to Heineke.
Correct.
When he's on that team, they play with a little bit more passion than they do with a Wentz.
Even if we give Brady to Washington, that gets us, the panel, 14. I know it puts you over your magic number. But there's also multiple asterisks there. So but
it was a ballpark.
It's actually closer to 50% than I thought we were going to get when I heard you say it.
Well, but drafts also haven't taken place. I mean, this is why way too soons are dumb. But like, what was the final committee number, Jim? I missed it.
14.
14 is not half.
13/14. I said it's closer to half than I thought we would get,
but still not half.
No, it is not wrong. On our end. It is not half. EJ hit his magic number.
19.
EJ hit his magic number because he's delusional.
The fact that you have it at 19 is ridiculous.
But again, Matt, we're talking 1 year sample. Now we go about the future.
That. Again,
he's not even
about your 1 year sample, and you continuing to say it doesn't make you more right.
Okay, but if we're talking about the next year, it's like beyond 1 year. He's not in the top 25.
Duh. Yeah. Who's making that argument?
Insert Brady in fucking, I don't know, the Raiders. I mean, they're probably at least a playoff team.
They've already passed on him once.
The Raiders are not a playoff team with Tom Brady.
Well, you fix
I don't agree with that.
Playoff. They need. Well, I mean, they need to fix their defense situation, but the offense would be great.
All right, we touched on a little bit, obviously, in the good, bad, and ugly, the Super Wild Card weekend. Is there anything else that we missed that you guys want to touch on from this past weekend and the games before we look ahead to?
I mean, maybe Lamar Jackson. That's about it.
So long as people keep up the energy about Byron Leftwich that they did with Lovie Smith, I'm good. Which they're not, and that's crap.
Yeah, the Lamar thing, certainly a complicated situation in Baltimore. It is certainly going to be something that is fluid and is going to change from time to time as we move towards this offseason. It's going to be one of the most watched situations with any team this offseason. I think it's going to be one of your biggest stories this offseason, because either Baltimore is going to pay the man, franchise the man, or somebody is going to get one of the premier quarterbacks in the league next year. So
I do think that situation is still salvageable, even with all the optics looking the way as it is. I think Baltimore knows that it's not. It goes beyond football for
Baltimore has the ability to do the right thing, so it is salvageable. Whether they actually do the right thing is the question mark, because we've seen them lose a few people who were happy with that team and then left.
Right.
Just as recently as Hollywood Brown. So it's not that management always makes that right call, and they haven't yet in any of Lamar's conversations, and I don't know that they do now. Especially when they got this close to beating the Bengals without him, they might try to bury their head in the sand and be like, well, we're fine. Let's use that money elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and I think, Kyle, you may have said it on EJ's podcast, but it is a point that has been hit by a lot of people in sports media. Is Tyler Huntley hurt Lamar Jackson's number this weekend by what he did against Cincinnati and putting them in the position that they did. That hurts Lamar's case to get Mahomes money. There's no disputing that. And also too, because here's the thing, like the thing we've heard about and around Lamar Jackson is well, look how good he's been, and the Ravens haven't given him weapons. Okay, well, if you pay him Mahomes money, how are you getting him the weapons that he allegedly so desperately needs as well? Because you're not going to be able to bring in elite receivers and elite running backs and bolster that offense, or bolster that defense and all of that. Like, something's got to give there. There's only so much money that can go out on an NFL roster. So, I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson doesn't deserve a huge contract. That's not what I'm saying. But I think if you're the Ravens, you have to be careful if and how much you give a guy who has trouble finishing seasons as well. Like if we want to be really honest about, I mean, the guy, because of the style of quarterback that he is, maybe because of the lack of weapons. I'm not putting it all on Lamar's shoulders. That he is a bit injury prone.
So Deshaun Watson is the standard bearer right now, currently for he's the current standard, right, for guarantee money, $240 million. Whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, I don't think he is. No, because the owners are outright rebelling against the Browns as a franchise.
Of course, right.
Hold on. Somebody may try to do that, but it's not going to fly. So I'm not prepared. That's such an outlier of a situation. This is like people trying to think that Le'Veon Bell was going to reset the market, but when it fell on its face, it didn't work. Now, maybe he drove the market up some, but as far as setting the market, you're going to be looking at Patrick Mahomes II, right?
Mahomes, actually, his contract is not as bad as you realize. When you break down
no, it's not, because it's laced with something else, but it's not bad as much as it's big, right? So that's kind of the standard set. And I get the part about him being hurt, Jim. To the Ravens' credit, they did what the Falcons did with Michael Vick. When he got his big deal, they had a reliable backup that'd be ready on a moment's notice. But you also touched on the lack of assets. If they lock up money in Lamar Jackson, ironically, they'll never fix the problem with the weapons. Period. Point blank.
I'm just curious what the number is that Lamar feels satisfied. The actual number.
Yeah,
and where Baltimore's willing to pay, and where the bridge could be at.
There's probably a sizable gap between those two numbers at this point.
Yeah, at least at this point, because you're not going to have him posting what he posted on Instagram, and I think you can tell there's frustrations on both sides. I have friends that are Ravens fans that are less than thrilled with Lamar Jackson at this point. I can't necessarily blame them in some form and fashion. But yeah, it's going to be one to watch. Like I said, I think
I know he had a wish list before the season when they were asking him about a possible trade, and Detroit was on that list. I think that if that comes to fruition, Detroit is no longer just a frisky team next season. I think that they can compete for the top of the North.
Man, they might be the favorites next year to win the North. I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
if the Lions could end up landing Lamar,
and the
Jackson,
Lions do have multiple draft picks thanks to the Stafford trades.
Yeah, absolutely. If the Lions can land Lamar Jackson, again, we don't know what's going to happen with the Packers quarterback situation, but to me, I'm putting the Lions ahead of Minnesota.
I would.
And until we see the Bears prove that they're going to be put something around Justin Fields, we can't count them in. And in a post Aaron Rodgers world, I have a hard time putting the Packers above the Lions in that scenario.
I know Miami was on the list also too of wish list.
Correct. And Philly.
So that'll certainly be something to watch. Matt or Kyle, anything else from the Super Wild Card weekend? All right, let's go ahead. We have 4 games on tap for this upcoming weekend. Yeah, great point there from Mike. He says they're trying to rebuild the defense like they had from the 2000s. And Kyle, yeah, I think you might have touched on that. They're trying to find their Trent Dilfer. Oof! Imagine writing those words. But
don't remind me of that shit.
They've won.
35.
They've won Super Bowls with Trent Dilfer.
Don't remind me of that, Jim. Fuck.
They're trying to refine their Joe Flacco.
Right. They've won Super Bowls with Trent Dilfer. Who'd they beat in that one, EJ?
Oh, yeah, next question.
What?
I cried at that game. I cried.
It's not like it's your team anyway.
You had Jerry Collins. You were lucky to be there.
I agree. We went another with Minnesota. Yeah,
And,
I know. I get it.
And they also, of course, won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. But all right, let's go to the games this week.
Wait, elite Joe Flacco, according to some guy we know.
Oh boy.
Shut your ass.
We start in Kansas City. You have the 4 seed Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs, who are 8.5-point home favorite. 53 is your over under Saturday 4:30 Eastern time on NBC. EJ, we'll start with you.
I think this game will be competitive early, and I think once it's the middle third quarter, kind of like what Seattle San Fran did. Casey says, "Oh shit, we gotta play football now," and they'll take your business to cover the spread. Over-unders what again?
53.
Ooh, give me under.
All right, Matt.
I'm definitely going to take Kansas City minus the 8.5. I will take the over though in this one. I think that Kansas City will put up enough points to build a comfortable lead. Jacksonville might battle back a little bit. I could see like a 35-21 finish when all is said and done.
Kyle, do you want to go next, or do you want me to take it and you can kind of give some of your Jags expertise?
Well, here, I'll make it really simple. When the Jags faced the Chiefs last time, it was competitive, and it was competitive for a while because the Chiefs had one of their worst games of the season. It was the kind of thing where they eventually, almost get beat by the Texans or did lose to the Colts. Granted, the Jags are a lot better, but at the end of the day, you're telling me Patrick LaVon Mahomes II is going to struggle against a team whose weakness is the defensive secondary. I'm not buying. I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, look, the Jags have been one of the hottest teams, and the come from behind win this past weekend was incredible. I wish I could have watched more of the game, but I think we're talking about a team that, and to their credit, arrived a year early. But I think the environment, the clock hitting midnight for Cinderella, all of those things are just going to stack up a little too high against Jacksonville. You know what? I'll give them. They'll cover the 8.5, barely. But give me
slight
cover.
Slight cover. Maybe it'll be an 8-pointer. But give me the over as well. Devin has Kansas City in the over. Mike has the Jags and the over. And then we go to Saturday night to the number 6 seed Fighting Day Bowls. The New York Giants travel to Philadelphia, the number 1 seed Philadelphia Eagles, who are 7.5-point home favorite. 48 is your over under 8:15 Eastern time on Fox. Matt, we'll start with you.
I mean, I think you've seen all season that I refuse to pick against the team, so I'm not going to start this late in the game. Give me the Eagles. I will take the over, though. I think 48 is a little low given what we've seen the Giants offense able to do these past few weeks and what the Eagles offense has done historically, especially in cold weather games.
All right, Kyle.
I get that the Eagles and Jalen Hurts are playing their worst football of the year so far. I get that they have student of the game MVP Saquon Barkley on their roster. I get that EJ is allegedly a fan of both teams. But at the end of the day, I am not brave enough to pick the Fighting Day Bowls over Sirianni, the second place candidate for Coach of the Year behind Doug Peterson.
Third place.
I have the Eagles.
Third place.
You can hold up. You can hold up this all you want. I give your choice this. Okay.
I give you both of these. All
right, EJ, 2 of your 3 favorite teams.
Shut the fuck up.
Who do you got here?
No, I think much like Seattle, San Francisco, you saw this weekend with teams that are in the same division. They can be competitive. Philly's a better team. There's no question about that. So I think the Giants on the points is actually a smart move here. But Philly wins this game. And give me the under. I think the under is easy, actually.
I think it's complicated because and obviously the Eagles are not going to actually I should put this graphic up here.
Okay.
For the weekend games. But the Eagles obviously aren't going to reveal a whole lot about the health of Jalen Hurts. So I think that's the big question mark going into this one. Was able to
full participant.
Full participant. Okay. Yeah. So you got to think that he's ready to go. Yeah, I think Philly. I think Philly's just they're just too good. I do.
Yeah.
I think it could be close for a little while, but I think Philly pulls away. I'll even take Philly to cover the 7.5, and I'm going to go over. I think the Eagles are going to score points, especially if Jalen is 100%. And yeah, I mean the Giants, Saquon, I think that they're going to put some points on the board. So 48 does feel a little bit low there. Mike has the Eagles in the under. Devin has Philly and the under as well. Then we go to Sunday. We start at 3:00 Eastern time on CBS. It is the number 3 seed Cincinnati at the number 2 seed Buffalo. Buffalo is a 5-point home favorite. 48 is your over under on this one. EJ, or Kyle, actually, we'll start with you on this one.
Listen, I have no rhyme or reasons. This is probably going to be the closest game of the season, postseason, and all of it. So with that in mind, the only reason I picked the Bills is because I prophesized it and even whispered it into Gabe Davis's ear on the field at UCF's Balance House of FBC Mortgage Stadium when they were playing South Carolina State while I was covering it for the Black and Gold Banneret. Bing! So, yeah, because of that and that alone, I know Mikey Byrne might object. He surely will in the comments shortly. But I have the Bills.
All right, EJ.
This is tough because I have Cincinnati going to the Super Bowl. But they just lost a lineman, too, this week. And that's a big deal. And this line has moved actually a 1.5 in the last day or so. I'm still with the Bengals. I'm gonna stick with it. I just think they're a more well-rounded team anyway. The Bills have been kind of up and down a little bit last couple of weeks. I don't know. It comes with trust. Who do you trust more? Do you trust Joe Burrow or you trust Josh
again?
Or do you trust Josh Brett Favre Allen?
That was a Nicholson Joker line. Who do you trust?
Who do you
trust?
trust?
I think I need to get that one on the board.
The Prince did a soundtrack with my record.
But yeah, Josh Allen never led the league in interceptions.
No. I'm with you. I'm just saying that he's a little bit of a gunslinger. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if I had the soundboard, I would be playing "Shut Your Ass." I'm just saying.
Play it. Shit.
I'll go.
Shut the f up.
I'm gonna go in Cincy here still. I think when it comes to the better, well-rounded team, since he's been here for, I don't think they'll get too intimidated by the playing in Buffalo because they just did this whole shit last year. Playing in KC, in Tennessee, all that. Give me Cincinnati to win this game outright. So I was going to cover, and I'll take the over on this one.
All right, Matt.
I'm definitely going to take the over. I think we'll see a lot of points put up from each team, and again, 48 seems low for what these two offenses are capable of. Neither team really looked great last weekend. They both won their games, and we saw what they can do, but they also played with their food a little bit too much for my liking. So with that being said, I think it'll be a closer affair. So I think the Bills win, but I would take Cincinnati plus the 5 points. I think it we'll see a field goal or less type decision in this one.
Yeah, and I've said it, throughout this season at times, and I think Mike hits the nail on the head here. The Bills gave up 30 to Skylar Thompson. Are they really going to be able to slow down Joey Burr and company? I get it's in Buffalo, but so was the game against Skylar Thompson. So like, I have no idea who that is. Like let's be honest, and it's not a shot at Devon's Dolphins, but there's been questions about the Bills. They have, as Matt said, they played with their food all year long. Like they don't seem to have that killer instinct. The Bengals are kind of playing with this chip on their shoulder. I'm taking the Bengals to obviously cover because I'm taking them to win. I'll go over.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I got Cincinnati in this one. Mike says they got to play us, Bengals in the over. Devin has the Bills in the over. Devin thinks this game is going to go into overtime. I do not. I really do. I think the Bengals are going to take it. Yeah, and we go back to before everything happened with DeMar Hamlin a few weeks ago. The Bengals did pretty much, and I get it's a very small sample size. The Bengals looked to kind of have the early portion of that game. I mean, you can't extrapolate 4 quarters out of a couple of minutes, but the Bengals certainly did get off to a hot start in that one. And then the final game for divisional weekend, it is the number 5 seed Dallas Cowboys traveling to the number 2 seed San Francisco 49ers, who are a 3.5 point home favorite. 46.5 is your over under on this one. Sunday, 6:30 Eastern time on Fox. Just like the good old days in the mid 90s, right, Kyle? Right, EJ? You remember those days? EJ, we'll start with you on this one.
First off, very respectable spread for the Cowboys here. Only 3.5 points. I'm a little shocked.
It actually has moved a half point throughout the day today because it started at 4.
Wow. It's Dallas money coming in here. Wow. Interesting. Give me San Francisco to cover slightly. I think this might be the best game of the weekend.
Right.
No, I think people are sleeping on the Cowboys, man. They really are. I think the Cowboys, if they play their A game, this will be a good game. I also think San Francisco, but this will be a very good game. But I think San Fran will cover slightly. Give me like a 24-20 final score, literally. And what was the over-under again, buddy? I'm sorry.
46.5.
I get under.
All right. Matt.
I do think it will be a closer game than we're seeing on. So I will take Dallas plus the 3.5.
Do nothing again? Do nothing?
No. I just like the 3.5 points because I don't think either team will win convincingly, whoever does win. So with that being said, and it being a closer spread like that, give me the 3.5 points. Who knows? Maybe off of some missed extra points or a shanked field goal. Who's to say what will happen when all is said and done? But I will take the under on this game. I think both teams have the defenses that'll give the quarterbacks on either side fits.
All right, Kyle.
I don't get it. A team whose alleged best assets are running backs trying to run against a team that typically crushes the run. A great defense that pressures offenses into making mistakes with the guy who allegedly makes a lot of them in Dakota Prescott. Allegedly. And a defense that it gets spread thin and isn't the old gray mule that it used to be against a team with a butt ton of weapons. I'm not seeing the confidence in the Cowboys. What am I missing? Help me here, guys. I mean, for my money, yeah, please, because for my money, the fact that the spread isn't twice as much as it is, granted, I'm not.
It's shocking.
I mean, I think part of what's going into the spread is probably how, again, against a 7 and 8,
8 and 9,
a 7 or 8 and 9, whatever the hell, these stupid. You know what? NFL,
I hate it. I hate it.
Get me an even number of games in an NFL season.
Thank you.
Please.
Shit.
A 8 and 9 Bucks team, but the Cowboys, for the first time in a long time, played about as well as you can on both sides of the ball. I think it's a reaction to what we saw yesterday, probably a bit of an overreaction.
There's the answer I'm looking for, Jim. It's an overreaction. I got the Niners. You can have your damn field goal and a half. I don't think a mixed extra point's going to come into play here. I'm not saying they're going to spank it like they did the Seahawks, but then if they did, I'm not exactly surprised either.
Yeah, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I am riding the happiness wave today. I was actually in at my office today, reveling in Victory Tuesday, because for some dumb reason the NFL thinks we need to have Monday night games in the playoffs.
I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Look, I don't care who won last night. It's dumb. One team is on a short week. I'm not making an excuse if the Cowboys lose, but you have a team on a short week. And there's the 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. I don't understand why the math is hard, but fuck you, Roger.
Money. Spread the money out.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. And I knew it was going to be the Cowboys and Brady, because that's the most valuable matchup, and that's going to give you your most talking points on a Tuesday. All that said, look, you know, I'm happy as hell the Cowboys won. I'm happy as hell for Dak to have played as well as he did. This is an insanely taller task for the Dallas Cowboys. It absolutely is. Now, the biggest question mark, and I said it, I think, before last week's game, and you know, I've touched on it even down the road at the end of the season for the Niners. Like, at some point, you would think the rookie magic bubble is going to burst for Brock Purdy. Will it happen this week? We don't know. Like that's one of those magic mysteries that lies out in the universe. But you know, I look at this Niners team, and to me, I think the biggest mismatch in this game is the Cowboys, especially once you get outside of the pass rush, have struggled at times against a run game, and have struggled to tackle, you know, playmakers on the other side of the ball. That, to me, is the difference in this game, and that is why San Francisco covers. San Francisco wins. I will take a slight over. But yeah, I hope the Cowboys can make it to the, you know, they won their first road playoff game since I was 6 years old yesterday. That's great. It's one of those weird stats, though, because, I mean, not that 8 straight road playoff losses is a good thing, but it's not like they play a road playoff game every season. But nonetheless, I'm happy from yesterday, but reality is lurking around the corner 5 days from now. So that is the truth there. Mike says, I think people believe that the defensive line will be the toughest that Brock Purdy has to face. He thinks that Parsons can wreck Purdy. I mean, again,
here's why that's a bad take. Walker Little shut down Micah Parsons in Jacksonville. You think Parsons is going to get through Trent Williams? I don't.
I mean, it's possible, but again, it's
I love cocky Niner fan here. I love it. Cocky Niner fan. Kyle's back, baby. Hell yeah.
This is analysis. Something you wouldn't know anything about, Mr. Fan of every single team. Okay.
I'm just complimenting buddy.
You know, I mean, I'll say this. Maybe this is the toughest front that Purdy faced. You're trying to tell me that this isn't the toughest that Dakota Prescott faced? And I understand that Trent Williams faced an injury throughout the year. He's still back in the lineup and better at 75% than a lot of guys in the rest of the league. Okay? This does not make sense to me. Also, to the point made earlier when we were discussing EJ's completely trash take about Brady being better than half the quarterbacks in the league.
That was right on, of course.
The quick release aspect of the Shanahan offense also rules Parsons basically irrelevant. I'll put it this way. Somebody else has to have a really good game for Parsons to have a really good game. And then again, Dakota Prescott's going to make at least one mistake.
I mean, I'm glad I wasn't going to say it because then I would have got accosted.
Yeah, you already have an apology letter to write, so I wanted to get the heat off.
And by the way, this will be Dak's toughest challenge because it is the best defense in football. So,
yeah.
Next question.
Certainly, it's certainly, like I said, I think it's the toughest task that this Cowboys team has faced all year. Period.
Who's more likely to put up points on defense and special teams?
Oh, easily San Francisco. Easily San Francisco. Easily.
Yeah. And that's assuming if it all goes worst case scenario for Purdy, just like Bernier claims.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, if it's still coming down to it, I mean, every team should face challenges. I agree, but I don't have faith enough just by beating a bad Buccaneers team that this Cowboys team is going to rise to the challenge against what some believe, more on that later, is the best team in the playoffs right now. Mike has Cowboys in the under. Devin says he hopes he's wrong, but he has 49ers and the over. But speaking of that later thing,
there now.
Look at that. Even in section 108.
So white. All right, Jim. You give your card to Kyle. He's the whitest one in the panel.
I mean, you saw my failed attempt at dancing one time this season. I think I still have Kyle beat.
Let's get this straight. Like, I have a tie and glasses on. If this is what it takes, I'm glad I'm this good a method actor, okay?
All right, EJ, for the podcast listener, give us, because as we are only doing the teams that are still in play, your top 8.
Top 8. Number 1. Well, let's go 8-1. 8-1. Why not?
It's up to you. You're second.
8, the New York Giants. 7, the Jaguars. 6, the Cowboys. 5, the Eagles. 4, the Bengals. 3, the Bills. 2, the Chiefs. 1, the Niners. It's dwindling down, fellas.
May I suggest to the committee the only change that I would really feel a way about? I think you're overreacting still. I got the Jags ahead of the Cowboys.
You do have a win against them. I will say that.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem switching those two. Should Philly be higher? And maybe I'll levy this to Matt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because to me, I looked at a Bills team that struggled to put away Skylar Thompson. I looked at a Bengals team that struggled to put away Tyler Huntley. And you're talking about a team that is the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Let me defend Mike real quick why I have him at 5 because there was consideration to put him higher. There's question marks on Jalen Hurts. I don't know how healthy he is.
I mean, he was a full participant today.
If we're having the conversation about struggle to put away, the Eagles struggled to put away the entire backup crew of the Giants, right?
Right.
I mean, the Eagles also were playing with a Jalen Hurts that had been out hurt.
And again, we don't know how healthy he is.
A very vanilla play.
And very vanilla offense that week. I don't know that should necessarily be held against
right.
them.
And because of the question marks that on both sides of the argument is why they're lower. They should be at least in the top 4.
So where do you put them then? I guess
I don't know. I'm in 5. So you.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. They did have the week off because they took care of business early. So, unfortunately, they struggled a bit down the stretch there. But I think if you had them above Cincinnati, who struggled to put away a Ravens team who shouldn't have been competitive at all, that I wouldn't have argued with that either.
I'm surprised people are surprised that that game was competitive, given the nature of that division. They were competitive. Not saying they won.
I get it. I get it, but you know, people want to put, you're talking about the defending AFC champion, and you're talking about a team who's playing with a chip on its shoulder, all of that. To me, they should have been better. I get it's a divisional matchup, same as Buffalo, Miami, but at some point when you're hosting home playoff games against teams that are worse than you, you should be expected to be better if you're going to be talked among the league's elite. So to me, the Bengals, like, I personally would put the Bengals above the Bills.
Yeah, in hindsight, I might.
I think there's an argument for 3, 4, and 5 to be in any order. Like
3A, 3B, 3C.
Yeah, well, we're not doing that because I don't want to see Kyle's head explode all over
exactly
108. But if you want to put the Eagles at 3, Bengals 4, Bills 5, I don't have a problem with it. If you want to put Cincy 4, Philly 5, Buffalo, or Philly 4, Buffalo 5, like, again, I think 1 and 2 are right. We talked about this throughout the season, that there's kind of tiers with teams, that I think your top 2 are correct. I 3, 4, 5 are in that tier. You put them wherever you want. 6 and 7 are in their own tier, and then there's the Giants.
But that's the weird thing, though, because
no offense, PJ, and your alleged favorite.
No, that's okay. But this is the weird thing, though, Jim. About this is weird.
Allegedly,
is that I feel like if Hurts is actually healthy, they're in tier 1 also. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just there's a lot of questions around Jalen Hurts about how healthy.
Yeah, and I don't think they should be in tier 1. Like, I don't.
They'll be in tier 1.
I don't think they should be locked in at 3. But I think there's a case for Philly to be higher, and it has as much to do with them being the number 1 seed in the NFC as it does with what we saw with Buffalo struggling to put away Skylar Thompson and the Bengals struggling to put away Tyler Huntley and the Ravens.
Which is why I don't understand why the argument for Kyle saying Jags over the Cowboys. Now, granted, they did beat them, but so the Giants beat the Jaguars also too in the year, but that's the story. But when the Cowboys, granted, it was the Buccaneers, but they did. Oh, wait. But they did the thing that you're complaining that the Bengals Bills didn't do. They put away. It wasn't the Cowboys they beat Tampa this week. It's the way they beat them. They trounced them from start to finish. It was never close. It was never a game. And that, to me, in a playoff game, especially on the road against Tom Brady, even with a bad Bucs team, is still impressive.
So it's impressive to beat a garbage team
again. The way they beat them.
No, I'm going to finish here. It's
Can I finish?
Beat a weak team and trounce them, air quotes, despite missed field goals, than to take a team that is double digits and would win other divisions, but not one with Patrick LaVon Mahomes in it, and come back and after digging themselves in a hole. I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's EJ. It's your list to defend. I
get his argument. I'm just saying that to me, it showed me more. Like, to me, I think Dallas is close. I think the gap between Eagles and Cowboys is actually a lot closer than you give it credit for. Also, too, on top of that, so that's a lot of my argument too. Dallas is closer to the top 5 than I think that most people.
Well, I don't think we know what the gap between Philly and Dallas are, because the first time Philly and Dallas played, Riptide Rush was under center for Dallas. The second time we saw them play, Uncle Rico was under center for Philadelphia. So I don't think we know how those teams match up. It'd be cool to find out, but I don't think we're gonna. But I don't think we know what that gap is, to be 100% honest. Could it be tight? Are the Cowboys better? They could be. Are the Eagles miles ahead of Dallas? They certainly could be as well. That's a huge unknown. I'm not signing off on anything saying that those two teams are that close to each other. Mm-hmm. But again, I also when the Tampa Bay scored to end the third quarter, I also saw that game ending a much different way. But that's just that the Cowboys beating me up last
right. But that's your paranoia. And for the record,
when it's based in reality,
paranoia who watched Tom Brady do it this many years too.
Well, that too, but it's not paranoia when it's based in reality.
No, right, but the thing is, it didn't happen. That's the reality. And it did not happen.
Like I said, I'm more than thrilled that the very next drive, the Cowboys went and answered back with a touchdown, something that they have struggled to do at times over the course of their.
And I'm not a Cowboys fan for the record, so I mean, I'm not trying to defend the Cowboys there, but
allegedly.
Nice drop.
But yeah, look, I wholeheartedly agree with the Niners at 1 and the Chiefs at 2. I maybe even more wholeheartedly agree with the Giants at 8. Everything else in between, I think there is a discussion for. We will eliminate, half of these teams by the time we meet again next week. We will certainly see
Matt, what
how
would you
that
change?
goes. Let's see. Mike says flip the Bengals and the Bills. He says he'll stop.
I mean, don't make me about that.
He
actually,
says he'll stop homering now, but I don't know that I believe that.
No,
the biggest
honestly,
homer on this panel is the one that said it. There's that. But
I will. Go ahead.
I think they're interchangeable too.
Here's the thing, though. You know what? Honestly, in hindsight, I might do that myself because I think the Bills win was a little more concerning than the Bengals win. They've had reps with Huntley for weeks now.
I don't know.
No, here's why, though. Bengals played the Ravens last week. They just played last week. Okay? They play again a week later. Okay? Huntley's had time with his team to at least have this game competitive. Okay? Whereas the Dolphins are literally going to the third-string quarterback, I mean, with quarterback issues all year long, pretty much. The
Sure.
Bills win was a little concerned. So, honestly, in hindsight, I agree with Mike and Kyle there. I swapped the Bills and Bengals, honestly.
Okay, I mean,
a little concerning.
I think, but with the, I mean, the Bills at least were playing in front. It took a boneheaded coaching decision, instead of running it with one of your bruising running backs, and putting the ball in the hands of Tyler Huntley, who made a tragic mistake for that team. And it's right place, right time for, pardon me, Mike, for forgetting the name of the Bengals defender. I'm sure you'll put it in the chat here in a second. To catch that loose ball and run it 98 yards. But it.
I mean, if you want the wash here, the wash should be the Eagles at 3, then Bengals 4 and 5, whatever, and that's call it a day.
Like I said, I think 3, 4, 5 are interchangeable. 6, 7 interchangeable. But 1, 2, and 8, I think are where you wanna lock it in. Sam Hubbard, thank you, Mike. I knew you'd be there for me. But speaking of locking it in, we go to our weekly close.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
We got a few more weekends in the National Football League, gentlemen. It is winding down. As sad as that is, where the sun is setting. But going into divisional weekend, what are your locks? What are your guarantees for the weekend? EJ, we'll start with you.
My lock of the week will be that Bengals-Bills game. That over is the bet of the weekend. Bet the over on that game.
Okay. Lock it up.
All right. I can see that. I can certainly sign off on that one. Matt, what is your guarantee for the weekend?
I will give my lock, and in terms of gambling wise, to the under in the Dallas-San Francisco game.
Lock it up.
All right. I can't necessarily disagree with that. What do you got for your lock this weekend?
Well, for me, it's not anything related to the games per se, but next year, Staley will be fired and EJ will be complaining about it all the way up until that point in 2024.
I love that. I had to build a little bit of drama. I threw you guys off the scent a little bit when I was talking about the Cowboys and the 49ers. My lock of the week, Brett Maher makes all of his extra points this weekend. However, he misses a 28-yard field goal as time expires for the Dallas Cowboys to lose the game by 1 point.
Wow. What a dick.
Because that will happen. That's the kind of thing that will happen to me.
Watch Jim's timeline on Sunday night.
Hey,
Jesus.
Go to the I think I was very good last night. I was very minimal.
Actually, you were minimal, yes, but you were definitely bitching early in the game.
No, I mean, nothing like normal.
Like Dallas was ahead, and you're like, what the fuck?
I don't. I mean, I'll go back and check it, but I don't think it was. It was quite as exaggerated as you are. Devin says the Bills and Bengals will go into overtime. That is his lock of the week. And Mike, well, this is why I called bullshit on Mike saying that he was going to stop going homer. His lock of the week is that the Bengals will win. That's his lock of the week.
It's a good bet, though.
Really going out on a limb there, Mike. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. But that's where we're going to close it up for divisional week. 8 teams left in the National Football League, and next week there will be 4. But EJ, let the people know where they can follow and keep track with you and everything you're doing.
All right. Twitter, EJ Christian 7, all my podcasts, Orange Chicken Podcast, Unfiltered, Take the Wrestling, you name it. Follow the Linktree at linktree / is it slash, I think? Ernest Christian. And that's all I got for you, man. Guys, it's been fun here, man. I'm going to miss the show once it's done.
All right, Matt.
Yep, you can follow me across all platforms at Teaching to the Choir. You can hear me on Thursdays and Tuesdays, the 3CT podcast, talking all things wrestling. And then starting in about a month will be The Pitch, focusing on all things soccer and baseball.
All right, student of the game, Kyle Nash. Where can they keep track of you?
Honor, joy, and privilege, fellas. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG, where you can check out my various wrap-ups and writings from UCF basketball with the black and gold banneret. Also, Jaguars football in the NFL with the 3-point conversion. And hey, look out, guys, sooner than later, Orlando Guardians content with the XFL.
Behave.
That's coming here. Just spoke today as this is being recorded. Just spoke today to head coach Terrell Buckley, former FSU great. So obviously, EJ will be excited. He'll probably talk about that one time that they beat his Notre Dame Fighting Irish as well, or something. Anyway, so with that in mind, look out for that on all the necessary stuff. Also, look out for stuff with A7BN Sports and the Captain and Company Morning Show on oldschool101.com with my friend Captain Chris Hill, an honor, joy, and privilege crew. But until next time, class dismissed.
Yeah, you can follow me at Big Jim Sports. You can, I did want to follow back on something we opened the show with, the news of Ring of Honor and independent wrestling superstar Jay Briscoe. It has been confirmed passed away in a car accident today in Delaware. So definite tragic news. We will certainly unfortunately be talking about that this Thursday on 3CT. So if you are a wrestling fan, you make sure to check that out. Our thoughts, of course, are with his brother, his family, his friends, and all of his colleagues across the wrestling industry. Just absolutely horrible news there. But you can follow the show at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, youtube.com/@HuddleUpPodcast. To make sure you are subscribed there. You can get us on all podcast platforms, as well as our merchandise over at tpublic.com. Hit the link tree in all of our social medias so you do not miss anything. Share the show with somebody you think might enjoy it. Until next week, when we are back live looking ahead towards NFL Championship weekend, we hope you stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.